What are you doing here? You heard what they said. That was just some paltry example. It wasn't an actual suggestion. But YouTube is crying out. I haven't heard any crying. Don't you? Don't you want to change the world? No, you can't. You can't make me. What are you gonna do? Make a list? You know I can't. Come on, baby. Ah, I don't want to talk about it. After watching your recent Becoming YouTube video, I couldn't go to sleep at night for thinking about it. And I'd wake up the next day thinking about it. And I imagine that's something of what you intended, but it wasn't in a good way. I couldn't figure out why it was bothering me. And not knowing why I was so bothered, I went back and watched it again. And what I found was a lot of response videos, which I also watched. And I started to realize why it was I was so bothered. I was bothered because you missed the point. You made us the other, and you made it our fault. So far up to this video, you raised really thoughtful questions, not just about media creation or consumption, but about the human experience and what it is to be loved or to want love's bastard, fame. And you've been addressing that specifically through this goal of becoming crazy internet famous. And it's been fascinating. I even understood in this episode why you chose to only focus on vloggers. Because it seems the base of what you're doing is taking a survey, and any survey needs a sample, and that sample is vloggers and not makeup tutorialist, which is fine. I can respect having to focus on a specific field, otherwise the study would have no constant. That being said, some of your panelists raised valid points about teenage obsession. And admittedly, when I was a teenage girl, I spent a lot of my time reading teenage girl magazines filled with pictures of teenage boys over whom I obsessed. And this is a form of objectification. It is no different when the sex is reversed. However, I grew out of my obsessive occupation of objectification, and based on what some of your panelists have said, boys do and have not. Chewing Sand, aka Hazel, talked about sexist comments that women receive and how that can be a discouragement to want to create. But then I don't think that it does. As she also pointed out, women deal with that every day. It's a regular part of life for a woman to be objectified and men to let us know their objectifying thought. And if we protest, we are told it is our fault because of the way we dress or the makeup that we wear. And this is extremely offensive, and it's recognized as so. So, should we look at the problem as women don't make YouTube videos for fear of the sexist comments? Or is it they make videos, but the sexist comments don't really matter? It's only the videos aren't as good? Or maybe we should look at why those sexist comments are so pervasive. Because, and this point, yes, was made in several other response videos. But there are a lot of women making excellent content. And while a YouTuber like ViHeart or It's Way Past My Bedtime may not have as many subscribers as Charlie Is So Cool like, it could easily be argued that their content is as good. And this is the problem I have with this video. Your claim that based on the numbers, there just aren't as many good female YouTubers out there. I've watched many a YouTube video, and some of the YouTubers based on the numbers for crazy internet famous just aren't that good. And at the very least, aren't as good as some of the women who were overlooked. So perhaps this shouldn't have been about the numbers, because that's far too easy a way of looking at a complex community. Perhaps what should have been discussed would be to further explore why someone with a YouTube channel as good or better isn't getting the same numbers as someone whose only difference is being male. Because there are lots of women comedians in the world, and women willing to speak honestly and create brilliant content, and do. Issa Rae, for example, while not a vlogger, is making one of, I think, the funniest and open satires about race and gender in everyday life. The Misadventures of Awkward Black Girl is a show you can only find on YouTube. Vi Hart makes math way more interesting than I can ever imagine possible, and Mika Kitty shares with us almost every week something honest. And when she's not doing that, she's lip-syncing to some song. I'll make my point. I don't think it's a lack of good content. I think it's an unwillingness to watch it. I think the question that this video sort of asked, but should have focused on, is why we don't watch women who make great YouTube content. Why do we write them off? I get that it's a scary topic to untangle, and I'm not asking for you to be a totalist. I agree with you there. I don't believe it would serve a good purpose. But I am asking for you, for us, to rethink these questions, because we are being good. We have answered YouTube's cry. But have you thought about the intrinsic gender issues complexly? Because I don't think you can afford not to.